Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bog Panda. Tonight, we're going to talk about one of our newer favorite topics, and that's Nintendo 64 games. But you could apply this to any kind of retro game or a number of different types of retro games. I am Dr. Mike at Official Pagan on everything, and joining me, as always,
Hi, everybody. This is Kelly at Kelly on social media. No platform names necessary. and we'd really appreciate it. Welcome to Bog Panda. We'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing. Hit that bell for notifications of future updates, which will include, as we often mention on the show, Hard No, the world's shortest podcast. Fight us on that. It is. It's the world. It's under a minute, always. Published daily with great care by artisans from across the world. And there you go. And it's under a minute. So,
and just a little bit of child labor.
Yeah, little child labor. So that's literally little child labor. If you then you can see some of the shirts they made for us, because you can go to our merch store and get some of our apparel, which was probably not commissioned through child labor, but we're not 100% certain. Haven't totally
Those
checked.
kids have to eat. Buy those shirts.
Yeah, that's right. You want to. Yeah, I think we're gonna move off of this pretty quick, but check out the merch store. It's got some good shirts out there. None of them are child labor related.
Probably. Yeah. So, as you guys know, I recently this household became the sepulcher of a Nintendo 64. So I've never been a Nintendo 64 guy. My wife had a Nintendo 64. She was becoming nostalgic for that, so I picked one up for her. We now have 10 games for it. In the interest of, well, first off, just making it easy to find them all, and the gigantic price differences between full in-box copies versus loose cartridges. Those were all loose cartridges. So I was looking at my different options as far as how I could store these. Now you're a Nintendo 64 guy, Kelly. How do you store yours? Do you still have all the original boxes?
I do not. I do not have the
Yeah.
original boxes, but I do have a 3D printer. So I've kind of made little racks for them to store them in. So I've got a drawer I can pull out, and I've got all my Nintendo 64 cartridges sitting up there, and my Atari 2600 cartridges. And so I just kind of build my own display method.
Very nice. I'm not as good at the building side of things and don't have a 3D printer. So I was looking at my different options that were available. And there are, of course, plastic cases you could get for those. Those go for about like $5-6 a piece. There are different options on Amazon and other sites for different racks and things like that. I was looking at the best thing as far as aesthetically how it was going to look, as well as protecting the cartridges, keeping dust out of there and things like that. And our friend Jimmy from the Brutal Dudes podcast has been collecting a lot of old Sega Genesis games and picking most of them up as loose cartridges for the financial benefit of that as well. And he has been using and highly recommended a site called Custom Game Cases. They do reproductions of the game cases, really nice printing of the artwork and everything. And he showed me some of the Genesis cases. They look as good as the originals, especially if you get the black cases with them. But they give you options too. They have different colors and clear cases and things like that they can put the same artwork into. So you don't have to make it look like the retail copies. And that's the direction I decided to go with these Nintendo 64 cases. So you could get hard cases that mimicked the horizontal boxes that the Nintendo 64 games came in. The thing with that, though, as I was looking through the artwork, it's not very uniform, those boxes. The spines are different on each of them, and laying them that way, like it just, these are going to be going in a shelf in an entertainment center. So I was really looking for what's going to be the cleanest look and what's going to be the easiest when you're just looking for a specific game, trying to pull it out of this entertainment center. So they offer these kind of uniform cases, and I'll give Kelly some photos for you guys to see. But of course, I have a prop with me. This is the Mario Kart case. As you can see, they did a redesign. It has all of the artwork and all of the text for it, but they redesigned the spine and the front of it so that it is a vertical case and everything's going to have, a nice uniform look to it. Not only that, though, but inside the case, above your game, you have a spot for your memory cards. So really nice cases. These, depending on the one that you go with, depending on the system and the style of case that you go with, these go for about $6 and change a piece. So they're in line with just the regular clear plastic cases you can find anywhere. Maybe a few cents more, but you're getting all the artwork and everything with it. What do you think of this, sir? Is this something you would do for any of your systems?
Well, yeah, you've got me thinking because it would be so it's convenient. Well, I've got basically right now a drawer I can pull open, and I've got it chock full of all the Atari and Nintendo goodness cartridge wise. And for the Atari stuff, it's perfect because the Atari cartridges, the name of the game is emblazoned across the top. Also, obviously, very inconsistent depending on who the manufacturer was on how those look. So it's not a uniform look. But Nintendo 64 cartridges stored, so that their insert sites down at the bottom of the drawer to keep the dust out and all those types of things. Those are blank. So I have done the highly scientific Sharpie method and written the name of the game across the spine myself, which isn't not the most professional look per se. And I was just looking at that today as I had gotten the 007 World's Not Enough. And it's a dark blue cartridge, which kind of blows my black Sharpie out of the water. It's not particularly readable. But and so I'm just taking it, and the cartridge was in great shape. And so now I'm just marking over these things. So I could see going this route. It's just, it's not going to be an insignificant investment because it's going to be about, I got 30 plus games and $6 a pop. That's going to be some dough to do it, but they look really good. They look even better, if they were lit and there was like light.
There's, so, I would say, too much light in here, and that's really the problem.
Yeah, you would, but you'd be one of the few.
And that's why I'm going to have to send you some good photos of them. But yes. I mean, and again, you don't have to go with this. You can go with the more retail looking boxes, but I definitely highly recommend this. Again, the design on them is great, and you can't really see it here, but you'll see it on the pictures I send Kelly. All of the information's on there, just like on the Nintendo 64 boxes, how many players, if you need a memory card, if it uses the Rumble pack, and for the games that utilize the expansion pack, that's noted on the front of the box as well. You have all of the text and everything that was originally on the back of the box, just with this uniform look from game to game, which they did not have on the original boxes.
Yeah, I'd give that some consideration. And remind me, did one of those come damaged to you?
It did. So we now have 10 Nintendo 64 games. So my collection is much smaller than Kelly's. So this is a $60 investment versus what Kelly would be going through with 30 plus cartridges. I did order, my first order was 8 of those cartridges because I was still on the fence about something else that I was ordering. So they all came nicely packed in a box, but one side of the box didn't have bubble wrap on the front of the games. And of course, that's the side that the mail delivery person decided to drop the box on. So one of the cases did break from that because they are plastic. The case did break. I emailed them, and this was not late, but it was a Friday night, maybe like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night when they arrived. Saw right away that the one on the top was broken. I did email them, got an answer that night from them, and they are sending me a replacement case for that one. And then I ordered the other 2. So all 10 games, again, a much smaller dollar amount investment than what Kelly would be looking at, but all 10 games will have these cases for them. And I do have to say, because we did talk about customer service when we were talking about DK Oldies, I know there's a lot of people who have had issues with DK Oldies. My experience with them has been great so far. Had a minor issue with some shipping label stuff. They got back to me immediately and fixed it. I've ordered a couple of times from them now, Everything came great. Everything was clean. Everything was packaged really well. But there's people out there who've had bad customer service experiences with them. And that's kind of similar to what Kelly and I have gone through when we're dealing with companies like At Games. Kelly's contacted them. They've worked with him and got his problem corrected. I've contacted them for them to just ignore me, or one time in the 20 plus emails that I've sent them, send me a boilerplate response to some other issue. So I really do appreciate the good customer service. They got back to me right away. And again, if you're buying a lot of these cases, it's going to add up quickly. But on a per case basis of $6 and change or for each one, that's in line with just buying an empty, clear case off of pretty much any store.
Yeah, because I mean, you're looking typically at $5 for that, right?
Right.
So for an extra dollar, you get a really professional looking deal. Yeah, I'm going to give that pretty serious consideration. It may be done in stages. Spread the, I'll pull the Band-Aid off all at one time. Where I really struggle is I assume they probably have something comparable for Atari cartridges as well.
They had a bunch of different systems on there. In fact, with my second order, I ordered the other two most recent Nintendo 64 purchases, an NES game box and a Game Boy game box. So I didn't look at everything they offered on there. They had quite a few different cartridges though, and apparently they add new games, new systems, and new game covers every week that they're doing.
Yeah, because I picked up recently, was where I got my 007 game for the 64. I also picked up a 2600 cartridge, Slot Racers, 99 cents for Slot Racers. so I do struggle for the Atari stuff. Plus, the Atari stuff actually stores really well as is, because you can read everything and it's good. So I probably will just sit tight on that. But paying 6 times the amount of what I spent for a cartridge, like, I don't know about that. Plus, it'll be tricky too, because not only were some of the form factor, there are distinctly different form factors. All the Atari stuff came completely square. There was nothing going on. But you get to like Coleco, they had some stuff going on. There are ones that are significantly narrower, and the face plate's actually more at like a 60-degree angle. So I'd have to buy probably a variety of Atari 2600 boxes. And since they kind of store okay anyway, I might just kind of look. I really do like that though. For the 64 stuff, that might be pretty cool to do. So something for
Yeah, I mean, they're really nice. They definitely met and exceeded what my expectations for these were. And the printing quality and everything is really nice.
Excellent. Well, let us know if you're a collector of many cartridges, how you're doing your storage. And looks like Mike's kind of onto something here that might be a good thing for you to look at for storage. And I think I'm going to have to reconsider my Nintendo 64 situation and see if I can.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing I will say, especially if you're purchasing these for somebody as a gift, so apparently the way they do it, and this is my fault in my initial order for not reading everything on the website. They do these like in bulk batches. So they'll take all of their orders from the week and then spend a couple of days over the weekend or the beginning of the next week filling all of those orders, printing everything out and putting the artwork in the boxes and shipping them out. So it's not going to ship for like a week usually until after you order it. And then you have to wait for it to come in the mail. So the only thing to keep in mind with it is this is a couple week process for you to get these. So if you are a last minute gift buyer, that's the only thing that's going to be probably a hindrance for you.
Fair caution. Excellent. Good deal. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I'm going to have to rethink my 64 situation here a little bit.
Bog Panda.